No, there is nothing wrong with having a character from the LGBT community. It just works so much better when the character is original. And guess what? There are tons of them. You don't know about them, but for some reason they're refusing to shine a light on them. Let's talk about them. Hey, what's up, nerd fam? It's your boy Gashan. I want to welcome you to Into the Nerd. Today I want to talk about something that might be sensitive to some people, but I want you to actually listen to the context of what I'm saying and understanding. I'm actually trying to bring light to some really cool characters instead of accepting some of the laziness that a lot of these writers are doing just to try and rope people in, but just do a quarter of the work they really could be doing. So, as you've seen recently, they've had Tim Drake come out as bisexual. So here's what I want to say before anyone tries to strawman what I'm going to say here. There is no problem with having a person of the LGBT community in a comic. There are plenty already. Plenty really, really cool ones. No, I'm not one of these weirdos that go, oh my god, like having someone being gay or bisexual is sexualizing. No, because sexualization is not only when it's in the LGBT. It doesn't matter. Like if you got a dude kissing a girl or whatever like that, if it's sexual, it's sexualization. Like you can't be picky when it comes to that. So no, I'm not one of those right there. I just know that there are some fully fledged, really cool, developed characters that are in the LGBT community that are so much better than making a character who we know has not been that for over 30 years, slapping that on him, and because they feel like they don't have to do the work in building, he's already built, he's already known, they feel like just doing that. Because here's the thing about that. Doing that to them does not take away from their character. It doesn't add. The sexual orientation. It's who they're romantically involved with, who they want to be sexual with, what they want to identify with. And that's fine. But it doesn't add anything or take away. So when they say, oh, this is character development, it really isn't. The same way how if Tim had a girlfriend, like, it's not character development. I mean, I guess what happens between that relationship, like what the significant other means to them. Are they a villain? Are they this? That's what it is. But it doesn't really matter if it's a boy or a girl or whatever they want to identify with, right? That's not what the issue is, for me at least. What it is they chose to do that with people like Tim Drake and ICEMAN, who we know have traditionally not been that, instead of doing it with really cool characters who I want to talk about today, who have been part of that community from their inception, which means there is no inferring. There's no, oh, well, if you look here, you probably could have tell that he was bisexual, or you could have. No, they don't leave room for that. There are characters that from the beginning have identified like that, and they are developed. Let's talk about them, because they are really cool. I want you to know about it, especially if you don't read comics. These are really cool. The first two I want to talk about off bat are Midnighter and Apollo. Now, this is actually also, DC actually owns this. It's from the Wildstorm universe. So, they first appear in Stormwatch. This is actually a comic series I've spoken about in the whole HBO Max shows we need to talk about. And they actually run into like Jackson King, who was Battalion. They were actually part of a Black Ops group. So Midnighter is kind of like almost a mixture between Batman and even has like healing powers like a Weapon X type of thing. He's actually an awesome character. And Apollo is literally like, he's Superman. Like solar-based powers, has a lot of similar super strength, flight, stuff like that. And they have been together for a while. Like they were just a regular couple, then they got married, then they broke up. They were like fighting for each other. One of them actually got like assaulted by this dude named the Commander. Midnighter like killed him with like a jackhammer. Like Midnighter is an awesome character. It's not just, they are so developed, and they are actually in this other group called the Authority, which is also cool. And they actually work side by side sometimes with the Justice League, and they've even collaborated with Superman. It's like, where are they? Why has it? Oh, and Midnighter is actually the first gay character to headline his own comic. Where's he at? That was back in the 2000s. But once again, he's awesome. So is Apollo. Where are they? They are original. And I don't mean original. Some people might go, tongue tied. They might go, well, they're based off of Batman and Superman, so how are they original? What I mean by that, I'm not saying they don't have similarities with other characters. I'm saying their backstory is theirs. They have been gay from the jump. They've had a developed relationship. Their character development centers around them, the group, and saving the world. and has not been something inferred. It is right there for you. Why aren't we seeing them? Let's move on to somebody else. Then we have Moondragon. Now, I'm going to say this. Moondragon is one of those characters we're probably never going to see in live action. The reason why is because they already removed the things that would make her possible in the MCU, because she's technically Drax the Destroyer's daughter. Well, Drax was originally human. His soul was taken out by Thanos' father and made into Drax. Now, Thanos' father also took his daughter, who did not die in the car accident that Drax originally died in, or Arthur, his human form, and literally like brought her, trained her to like the peak of like human fitness, you know, the normal thing. Gave her like unleashed like latent psionic abilities. She literally actually became like an intergalactic Iron Fist, because she had to like fight this like dragon entity that tried to possess her, but her willpower was too much. She's awesome. Her character design is cool. Like, where is she at? But they're not going to do that because they cut out pretty much everything that would make her entirely possible. And she's also involved with another character in this list who's also not possible now because of what they did in the Captain Marvel movie. They've already destroyed Mar-Vell. Phyla-Vell is the daughter of Mar-Vell, who is also, she identifies as a lesbian, same as since Moondragon. They are actually together at some point. But it's not going to be possible because obviously Mar-Vell doesn't exist. But she's cool. She also becomes Quasar at some point. So you could have made entire movies where they come about, like cosmic adventures where they could come. Now, does it mean that you can't make versions of them in an MCU? No. You could still do it, but will they? Because all the building blocks are gone. And once again, these are characters that have been identified as lesbian from the start. There's no inferring. You know what they are. Their relationships are right there. And they have clear motivations and clear stories and really cool aspects about their character, whether it's design or motivation. That's awesome, but we're not seeing them. They'd rather show a character that hasn't been that and lazily just put it on there. But we talk about that. Let me talk about two other ones that you don't even know. Now, as you know, well, some people might not know, the Milestone universe is now coming back. They've already released like Static, Icon, and Hardware. And I'll do a video about those because those are a bit of perversions as to what the originals were, but whatever. They've had two characters that are really important in terms of LGBT characters. One is Masquerade, who might arguably be the first trans character, right? Which was really cool because he's part of the Blood Syndicate. A very violent group of people, and it was crazy because him hiding the fact that they were trans, because nobody knew until they found like his DNA, like his blood or something like that, and you realize that it was, you know, biologically female. It was actually part of his story of like hiding that, because obviously this is something that was happening in the early 90s, so this wasn't as accepted. And to be honest, some of that could probably happen now because the people who he was hanging around were actually the most progressive thinkers, understand? And then another person was Fade. Not only is he like a Latino character, he's also gay, and he also hid that away from like his sister and stuff like that and the rest of the group. Once again, these characters are over 30 years old. Where are they? These are, mind you, these are also owned by, like I said, DC. So the Moondragon and Phyla-Vell, that's Marvel. But when it came to Apollo, Midnighter, and these two Milestone characters, DC has them. So HBO Max, they could definitely do a show and introduce them to the general public, and it would be awesome. So why aren't we doing something like that? And these could be much more fleshed out, pushed out to the public, and people would absolutely love these characters. Why not? Another one I can mention is Daken, Wolverine's son, who also identifies as being bisexual. Once again, badass character, doing what he does, same thing as his dad, but sleeps with who he wants, and it's right there in the face. They don't hide it. It's sitting right there. Actually, hold on. Wow, I don't know how I missed this one. NORTHSTAR. NORTHSTAR is early from Alpha Flight, before we even go to Daken. NORTHSTAR, like, he's like the first character in a major comic to say, I'm gay. Like, and mind you, they have him in a lot of like X-Men comics now, but him and his sister, very important to that. But he should be out there. If they start introducing like the X-Men and mutants, they should be talking about him. He's been out for over 30 years. Where is he at? This is what I'm saying. If you are going to introduce brand new characters from the LGBT community, do it. Don't hide your hand. Don't added or just cheat like, you know, like the orientation or sexuality or how they identify as like an add-on to a character that you know hasn't been like that. Do it from the ground up. Or take the characters that you already have and put them out there. So let's just say there's someone from the LGBT community who's interested in reading comics, and let's just say like, oh, I want to know if there's anybody who identifies like I do or whatever like that. Instead of, you know, looking up Tim Drake and looking at the story and being like, well, the majority, this is brand new. What about the other stuff? Give them these characters. Now, there's a reason why a certain word I don't like to use here. I don't use like representation. Reason why is because I think it's kind of weird, because no matter what you identify as, even if you see a character that happens to identify the same thing, they don't really represent you, right? They might not think like you or have the same life story. So I'm really weird about that representation word, because they don't really represent you, right? Like, it's not like, it's weird for me. I mean, if that's the word you like to use, that's fine. But I feel like if you identify as, let's say, gay, and this character is gay, he doesn't represent you. He just happens to be gay, right? He could think exactly the opposite, have different ideologies, religion, whatever like that. It is what it is. But if you're going to at least have a accurate portrayal of what the world looks like, because it's not like gay people aren't gay versions of straight people, or a trans isn't a trans version of it. They're just people, right? They're just people with their own stories, with their own lives. So the characters should be treated the exact same way, not just as an add-on, like, oh, I don't know what else to do with Robin, bisexual. Versus, no, we're gonna build this character from the ground up and have all these cool stories, and yep, he happens to have a husband, or they happen to have, you know, why not? That's like real creative writing. How about we just do it like that? That's really what I gotta say about that. Because look, there's a lot of people who I know who read comics who are of the LGBT community. I see them at the comic book store all the time, and they say the same thing. Like, they're not buying Tim Drake's thing just because of that. Like, they already knew. Like, they're not impressed by that. A lot of these moves are for people who don't read comics, who go, oh my god, like, this is groundbreaking. But it's not, because they've always been gay characters in comics. There have been, but it's just new to the general public. Let me know what you think. If you want to see more, I can actually make a whole list. I've actually had a list before where it was like maybe like over 20 of them that I showed in there. Let me know if you want to know more. Please look up these characters. They're awesome. Go to the comic book store, read them. Enter the nerd.